GMs to another week of fantasy football. I took last week off, so I've decided to do a kind of 2 week part instead. Still will be the same time. Also, I want to just kind of clear up things. Basically, any trades or anything that happened throughout the week. So for this week, I have to be oblivious to that basically and say that it didn't happen. Just so you know, when I talk about certain things and what teams could be doing and what they need to do, I have to act as if I were making this video Monday night after the game of week 5. So here we go. This week I decided to do a studs and duds like I did originally. So I want to talk about a few guys here. First off, Stephen Ridley. I was a little skeptical with how he would play this year, being on a New England offense with so many targets on the receiving side of things. I didn't know if they would be using Ridley as much as they could be, but after accumulating almost 260 yards in 2 weeks and over 5 YPC and 3 touchdowns, I have to say they're using him pretty well, and he's becoming a very viable fantasy option, at least for now. I still can't put him into the top 10 running backs, but if he can continue to play the way he has been, he could easily make it into there. He's averaging over 130 yards rushing in the last 2 games, which is very impressive. The last guy on the studs that I want to talk about will obviously have to be Drew Brees, mainly because last week he made a record-setting debut. He had 48 consecutive games with a touchdown, beating Johnny Unitas's record of 47. He's been averaging over 400 yards in the last 2 games, 65% completion rate, and a crazy 7 touchdowns and only 1 interception. So he's almost getting four touchdowns a game as well on top of those 400 yards. So he's being the quarterback that everybody has expected him to be after a slow start in week 1, even though their team is still complete garbage and can't win. Moving on to the duds, I'm going to have to say, talking about this, Michael Vick. I'm an Eagles fan as well as a Cowboys fan, and to have Michael Vick really frustrates me almost every single week. I'm texting Rob and saying how I actually want to go and kill him. And there's reasons for that. Michael Vick, in 2 games, has only put up 416 yards, which is basically what Drew Brees has been averaging a game. He still has the same completion rate, but he has 3 touchdowns, and he has a crazy 3 fumbles. He cannot hold on to that damn ball when he runs. And I absolutely hate it, and he's trying to focus on holding on to that ball a little bit more and trying not to throw stupid interceptions and stuff like that. And the interceptions aren't so bad, but he needs to hold on to that ball because it's becoming a real problem. The next guy that you should not be seeing on this side of things would have to be Maurice Jones-Drew. He held out for the first couple games. He didn't want to play, and he comes back, and right now he doesn't even have 100 rushing yards between 2 games. He doesn't even have 4 YPC, and he has 0 touchdowns. And this is not what you want to see from an elite running back who didn't even play the first game, and now he's not even playing good. So is it time for Jacksonville to look for a Maurice Jones-Drew successor? Possibly. They could start drafting somebody and kind of have MJD as a mentor. But I think for now, fantasy owners aren't really pleased with Maurice Jones-Drew. But it's only been a couple of weeks, and I think that he's going to bounce back because he did have 1 good week back there, I think at least. And he's still an elite running back. A couple of the season deals that have happened here. Benchwarmers was a little pissed off with Des Bryant lately. I know he likes him, but he's looking to improve for next year. He's looking to gain as many picks as he can because this year is kind of a bust for him. So he got a 2nd and 3rd round. He replaced Des Bryant with another WR2. And who I like out of this one, I think Gridiron will get a great deal if Des Bryant can actually reach the potential that he's supposed to have. But, potential is different from actually getting those numbers. And if he can't make it and he can't do what he needs to do, then I think that Benchwarmer's got a decent deal out of it. The next deal, I can't say who I think got the best deal, obviously, because it's a deal with me. But I think I'm getting one of the a top 3, top 5 tight end. And I'm giving up basically Kenny Britt and Gresham. It's in reality, for what I gave up for Kenny Britt, I'm essentially giving up a first, third, fourth, and fifth for Vernon Davis, which I'm not too upset about. I think with averaging over 11 points a week, I'm going to say that's a definite deal. Looking at the next deal, I have to say that Chris Johnson, I'm not a fan of. I think everybody knows that based on last year's videos. And I think that Rushing Renegades got a little bit of a deal here, just because, Greg Jennings, if he's actually healthy, he's good. But he's not healthy that often. But he has 3 other receivers that he can use anyways. So waiting for Jennings to become healthy isn't a huge issue. He's also gaining more picks, and I think he has picks in I think all of his picks are done in the 4th or 5th round, which is just unreal. So look out for Rushing Renegades next year. He's going to have another top team. The next deal, I don't know who really won this. I think each team is gaining what they need. WWJD already has Peyton Manning, so he got rid of Michael Vick, and he's filling in his last spot that he possibly needs, which is a third wide receiver. So he has one of the best receiver cores in my eyes as well. Gridiron, I think, probably has the best one from off the top of my head. But I think WWJD having Percy Harvin, Colston, and Deshaun Jackson is a pretty tight combination of 3 solid receivers. And I think JRF desperately needed a quarterback. However, going for Michael Vick isn't the greatest thing, but he still puts up numbers because of the rushing. So as a fantasy player, Michael Vick's not a bad choice. And giving up a second round, I mean, I'm not a fan of bottom teams giving up high picks, but you need a quarterback. So I mean, it's not the worst thing. JRF had one of the best receiving cores. I loved his receiving core at the beginning of the year, and it's down to just VJ now, and it sucks to see that happen. Looking at the team rankings, there's only been a few changes. The Bus going 5-0, I have to put him up in the top 3. I think regardless of what his team actually fully looks like, his team's good, even though DMC isn't playing up to the potential that he's supposed to be. Going 5-0 is impressive, leading the league right now. I do like WWJD's team better than the Bus's, but because he's not 5-0, I'm going to have to put him down for now until a couple weeks pass, and then he might be able to go up there. Dante, another season, and he's just completely owning and surprising everybody and leading that division, the NFC West. And, I didn't expect that. I thought Halababa would be leading it. But, Dante is just proving with certain players. He's just getting points up there on the board, and he's winning. A couple teams that have declined because of these guys that are going up. Myself, I think that I have a sweet core, but my receivers, I just can't wrap my head around those receivers. I'm not the biggest fans of them, and Steve Smith isn't exactly performing at the level that he should be. So that's what's really killing my team. But I don't really have anything to trade for more receivers, so I pretty much just have to leave it the way it is. Gold Standard, his team's not bad, but he's 2-3 right now, so I have to just say I have to put him below me just because I have a better record, even though our teams are fairly similar. He has better receivers, but mostly everything else I have a little bit better of. So he's still a top 8, but he's definitely gone down from a top 4 team that he was before. Trading block, there's only been a couple of changes here. Laws Nation is looking for pretty much everything on offense except for a tight end. He has RG3 for sale and Lloyd looking to make a big deal sometime soon. The Bus, the biggest thing that he needs in my eyes is a wide receiver. His running backs are pretty decent. He's looking to give up McGahee. Once DMC actually performs at the level he should be, his team's going to be pretty lethal, although it's not, even though it is already. He does need, though, a third wide receiver in my eyes rather than a guy like Sidney Rice. Tank Destruction, the main thing that he's wanting is to improve his defense. He really likes his offensive core, and he thinks he's pretty good there. And he pretty much just needs a little bit of touch on his defensive side, and after that, he's pretty much set for his team. Gold Standard is pretty much just moving, other than Steven Jackson, just moving the depth on his team. They're not starters. He's just moving any guy that he has that are extra pretty much for anything, any picks, because he doesn't have any picks for next year that are in like the top, I think, 6th or 7th round picks. So basically, if you need somebody as just depth, go talk to Gold Standard. He'd be glad to make a deal and try to salvage somewhat of his next year's season with getting some extra picks. So that's all for this week's video. Hope you guys enjoy, and I look forward to seeing what happens in this upcoming week. Thanks.